Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hi, everyone. This is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really excited because today's guest is NZENGHA Waseme, and she is the director of ArtWorks Legal Incubator and Residency Program, which is this really cool, unique, one-of-a-kind legal incubator program for attorneys, new or transitioning attorneys, or graduate students looking to grow in the arena of intellectual property. So I'll let you, NZENGHA, tell everyone more about this exciting new program. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Tammy. I'm glad to have this. I'm absolutely passionate about working with intellectuals. It's kind of a unique, and not a lot of attorneys go into it, but what my program does, it completely gives the attorneys everything they need to know if they want to start an intellectual property practice, or maybe they don't want to go into private practice for themselves. Maybe they want to work with a company that needs an IP attorney on board. So this program gives you absolutely everything you need to know to be able to do that. There's lots of training, there's mentoring, there's business strategizing, there's professional and personal development. We have a thing here where we say that professional development is basically useless if there is no personal development. So we fuse all that together and we give the new attorney the confidence they need to step out and build a lucrative career.
It does sound like a lucrative career because I know for a fact that podcasting, entertainment, video, all of that arena, publishing, intellectual property is huge right now because more and more people are getting involved in it and they don't know what they don't know in terms of how do you do everything to make sure that you're protecting that intellectual property. So tell me more about why you think that this is such a lucrative area for attorneys to get involved in.
It's lucrative because nothing exists without a thought, right? So intellectual property is protecting thoughts, protecting ideas. The chair you sit on doesn't exist without the thought of the chair, right? So what's going to make you more money, the chair or the thought of the chair, right? The thought of the chair can make you millions of chairs. The chair is just the one chair. So when ideas are protected, it can be completely monetized. You talked about publishing. We can talk about licensing. In every area, you can have your intellectual property protected. Trademarks, patents, as well as copyrights. So what I notice is that as the world began to shut down during this pandemic, this was the practice area that kept trucking. Every tribunal that deals with intellectual property in terms of granting rights, ensuring that the money flows between licensing, those didn't shut down. The United States Patent and Trademark Office, it didn't shut down. You know, you might have gone down to your state Supreme Court, even the United States Supreme Court. All of these tribunals were shut down, but intellectual property attorneys kept making money. So this is an absolute lucrative career, especially right now where people haven't been forced to sit still. Ideas are popping off. More ideas need to be protected. Therefore, more money needs to be made. And without enough intellectual property attorneys out there on the field, you know, the supply is unlimited for us right now in terms of the number of clients you can have, in terms of whether you'd like to build your practice, or if you want to go into a company, like I was saying earlier, a company that maximizes intellectual property. This is a good time for it.
I think you're absolutely right, because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, my goodness, I need to talk to an intellectual property attorney because I'm creating these media networks, and that would lend itself to licensing and other things. And just like what you said about copyright, often people have things that they should legal copyright, but they just write copyright on it and they think that's going to protect them. And so there's so much that the ordinary person who has all of these great ideas, they don't know what they don't know. And that's where the legal minds need to come in. So how did you develop ArtWorks? I was looking at the name and I was thinking about it, and I was, thinking, wow, I wonder what that is all about. So tell me more about how you developed the concept.
Well, the name, I'll start with that. You think of ArtWorks, works of art, right? But then I thought about it in another sense. Art works, right? Art works. Art provides for us. Art is monetizable because it works. So for myself, when I first got out of law school, I started with a firm and I was doing general practice, which means we probably had a bunch of, departments that did a bunch of things. And so I was able to sample about and decide, okay, I like this, I like that, but it was intellectual property that made me light up. And it was because the clients, when they'd walk into the door, like a lot of times people don't think they need an attorney until they're in trouble, right? So the majority of the clients that walked in the door, they had a problem. And of course, we were happy to help them solve them. But the intellectual property, once they came in beaming, right? I have this great idea. I have this business plan. I have this design. And I just wanted to get behind that passion and support that passion. Now, of course, we're growing with a client and they run into some, road bump along the way. We'll assist that, but it doesn't start with the problem. It starts with an idea. And that's what I love about intellectual property. That's what I love about working with our clients. And I also love working with new attorneys that want to learn exactly how to perfect this practice.
I think I'm getting excited just listening to how excited you are, because I would be one of those people that would come in saying, I've got this idea, I want to protect it, help me. And I can see how you would get very into that creative process. And then, of course, you bring in the law into it so that you can really protect that person so that they can grow whatever it is that they're growing. So I can understand why that would be really fascinating. So this program that you've developed, it's open now for applications. Can you explain exactly what are some of the resources that someone who comes into your program could expect?
Oh, okay. So the way the program is broken, it's a 9-month program. The first 3 months, you work in lockstep. The candidate works in lockstep with a senior attorney that's going to act as their mentor, a business strategist, right? So so they have a mentor, they have a business strategist, and those two kind of work kind of opposing each other. Your mentor is the one you go to with like, I can't believe what happened this day. That's the one that might take you out to dinner once we can do that again. That's the one you're going to call and maybe have a Zoom, or the one you call when you want to celebrate some thing that really worked for you. We balance that with the business strategist. That's the one that's going to be holding you to be responsible. Are you meeting your benchmarks? Where are you in your business plan? Where are you in your branding? Where are you in the things you said you wanted to do for professional development? So that first 3 months is really, really rigorous just to set the tone of what's going to happen. So the resources you get initially, like I said, that's human resources. That's an entire support team. That's a team that can stand behind you and say, I got you on admin. You need me to return phone calls for you. You need someone to go into a meeting with you and take notes. You need that strong business presence. Although maybe this is your first client, we can do that for you. So you're going to have that confidence to walk in with the client. The client may not even know that you're that new, but to have a team behind you as if you have been practicing for years and years and years, I know that's invaluable. We set you up with your website. We set you up with a social media manager. You have your own admin. You can get paralegal services. That's just off the top of my head of the things that you're going to do in the first 3 months to really get set, to decide what does your brand look like, to decide what is your demographic that you're going to go after. Maybe you want to just focus on fashion law. You love fashion law. Or maybe you want to work with authors because you love copyright. Or maybe you want to work with inventors or scientists or everyone that's creative. So that's what you decide in that first 3 months, and you're going to get all of that. You also get included your office space, right? You get your phone line. You get someone there to plan events so that when you're ready to launch, maybe you're going to have a launch party. Maybe you're going to have a gala. Maybe you're going to just have a wine and cheese. Maybe you want to do a DIY where you just invite a bunch of fashion designers in and teach them. You know, out of those, we sit with you and brainstorm with you to help you learn how to bring clients in. And we can guarantee you as well that if you don't bring a client in on your own in that first 3 months, that's okay. We have clients for you. We will place clients with you so that you can have starter clients if you don't walk in the door with your own. So I know those are resources that are absolutely invaluable for someone just coming out of law school, or for someone that says, you know what, I've been practicing family law and I'm tired. Come to intellectual property. They're going to light you up. It's a whole different side of practicing law.
Wow. I wish I was an attorney, you know, because it does sound very creative, and it makes law and so much more exciting than what, you know, like you just said, if somebody is wanting to make that transition, you know, from family law into intellectual property, you're making it sound so exciting to me that, you know, I'm ready to go get my law degree just so that I can come join your organization. So who would you say, you mentioned the person who might want to be transitioning, so that maybe they have legal experience, or maybe they're just out of law school. So that person, when you talk about the ideal applicant, do they need to live in where you're located, or would that all work? They would come in and it would be a physical residency, right?
Well, a lot of our program does have the remote access. So a lot of it is that way. As far as on the ground where you are, we source your mentors. We have a bunch of attorneys that are senior attorneys or retired judges. A lot of people that they're just in the phase of their life where they're not practicing so actively, but they still love the law, and they want to, and they believe our industry, our profession is something of integrity. And so they want to pour into that. So that's where we get our mentors. So you will have a mentor on the ground where you are. You can come into our headquarters as often as you can, but if you're far, once every 3 months. So we do it in 3 modules. First 3 months, then 4 to 7, and then up to the 9th month. Within those modules, you will have to come in because we do an on-the-ground, really, really in-depth training. Now, right now, we're doing a little tweaking of that because we don't know where this is going in terms of the pandemic, right? So we're tweaking that piece of it, but you're still required to commit to that weekend once a month. Whether we're going to do that remotely or not, you have to commit to that.
So you don't have to be there all the time. You literally can do this program where you're at, using the local mentors who would be available to you. Wow. Again, that makes it even more intriguing, because then you don't have to say, oh, I've got to go somewhere for 9 months to do this program. You can do it right where you're at and not disrupt everything else that you're doing while you're doing this program. I really like that a lot. So if somebody was interested in finding out more, how would they go about doing that?
Okay, you could go to they could go to the website, which is www.artworksincubator.com. Again, that's www.artworksincubator.com, or they could dial 646-859-3915, 646-859-3915. And then we're on LinkedIn and Instagram. What's the Instagram?
ArtWorks Legal Incubator.
ArtWorks Legal Incubator is the Instagram. Pardon me. So
that's okay. I wanted to know, I was looking at your website and I saw some pretty prestigious institutions listed as supporting this program. Can you tell me more about the accreditations and what type of an organization is supporting this?
Well, we have a ton of really great schools behind us, first of all. And I want to honor the schools first because, especially in the New York City area, those schools were the feeder institutions for our beta program. So I want to honor them. But most recently, I'm so excited that we are the only dual legal residency incubator of its kind approved by the American Bar Association. And the American Bar Association is the representative of the bar nationally. So that is huge right now that I'm still taking that in, that we're the only one that's approved to do this by the ABA.
That is pretty phenomenal. So is this part of a nonprofit organization now?
Yes. So what happened is I was doing this. This is my love. So I was doing this program out of my own office, my law practice, just because I love so much to do this, working with new attorneys, as well as mentoring. And then I guess the word got out. And after a couple of years of doing that, we were approached by a nonprofit. And the nonprofit asked us to partner with them and bring their program there. So we're super excited to be able to do something like that because it gives us access to greater resources and we can serve more people. So yes, it grew out of my law firm, but we're now collaborating with a nonprofit, Mercatech Development Institute. And Mercatech, their mission is to help with economic advocacy and job training. So since this kind of falls within the job training, they wanted to up their ante and bring the program into their legal division.
Wow, this is really a phenomenal opportunity, not only for you and the nonprofit, but for all of the potential candidates for this program. So what is involved in applying and getting accepted into this program?
Okay, so when you go to the website, there's the button, click apply. And it's very simple. You will state your interest. It talks about what school you went to, and it talks about your credentials. And I want to underscore that a lot of our applicants are not yet licensed attorneys, but because of the length of the program, they all become licensed before they finish the program. So you have that, and submit the basic documents that you would submit to any institution that does any kind of training, reference letters, things like that. And then you'll meet your packet. Your application packet will go to the admissions committee with a pool of a bunch. And then it turns from there where you will get an interview. So you get that first interview by someone from the admissions committee, and then cross your fingers that you get the second interview, because if you go on to that second interview, that would be with me. Our program is very selective, so I really like to vet every single person that comes through the door at this point. I know it's going to expand and grow beyond, what I can do, but right now I like to vet every single person that comes in there because this is my life's work. So I want to make sure anyone that's being trained through ArtWorks, I know them and I understand, I know their integrity, I know their commitment and their passion behind supporting creatives. And so once you get to me, you're more likely to shoe in. And that's the application process.
Well, that's a good little inside piece of information. So how many I guess how many people are accepted into this program? Are you expecting to be able to accept in the current application process?
Okay, so we only accept 10 individuals into the fall program. It's very hands-on, and like I said, this is my life's work. I want to stake my life on the fact that you're going to come out of here with a lucrative legal career. If you do your own practice or you go into another company, I want to be able to stake my life on it. And I can't do that with the numbers being beyond 10. I've tested myself. What does 5 feel like? And, I even went up during our beta testing, went up to about 15 people one year. And I know, I want to hold my baby close and make sure, we just do 10. And then we'll see how the program expands, and I can probably get a larger team. But right now, I can guarantee 10 individuals will be absolutely successful.
Well, that reminds me of when I applied to a PhD program. They ended up, I think, with 12 in that particular group. So that sounds like it's right along the lines of what most prestigious programs, realistically can handle, about that many. So that tells me that if you need to be somebody who's very serious, because you need to pass through all of these different interviews and everything, but the stakes are very high. And of course, the rewards would be phenomenal to be part of this program. And like I said, for somebody who has that love of the law, like what you're talking about, and then that creative streak, I can just see how that would be the ideal type of law for you to do if you had that creativity that was juxtaposed with the law. That would just be the best program ever. I mean, if I was 20 years ago, I'd be like, oh, I want to do this. But it's so exciting. So before I let you go, let's remind everyone again how they can get in contact with you so they can apply.
Okay, so they can go to artworksincubator.com. That's the website which has most of the information on it. We are doing a webinar on the 29th. If you go to artworksincubator.com, the information is there for you to register for that. And that webinar, it's really like a virtual open house. So you can kind of get in and see what the program is about, see who the movers and shakers are, get the testimonials of the people that have come through the program and been able to be extremely successful. So I said that's the website. And then on Facebook, ArtWorks Incubator, then Instagram as well. And then you can also call 646-859-3915. And I did say ArtWorks Legal Incubator on Instagram, right? I think I did say Instagram.
Okay, well. But you have this webinar coming up. Will there be any replays of the webinar in case somebody misses it? Or will you have that on your website?
Well, it depends on a couple of things. If we get 10 people in those 2 webinars, then we could replay, but it'll just be for information's sake for those that want to learn about the program. So like I said, we're very careful in the amount of people that are going to be in the program. So I don't want to, be disingenuous that there's a replay and then that's also an opportunity. I would suggest that you go ahead and register for that webinar. There's 2, one at noon and one at 6. So one of those times should fit you. If not, go to the website and pop an email and say, I missed it. I was booked all on the 29th. I was booked up. And maybe, we maybe send you individually that recording. But I don't believe at this point we're posting it on the website.
Okay. Well, that's good to know because like you said, if there's only 10 opportunities and it's a 9-month long program, now's the time to start gathering up all of the information so that you can apply and at least get a shot at one of those 10 openings, because that just would be very phenomenal. And like I said, I know that intellectual property right now is definitely something to focus on because of the fact that many people have been, let's say, at home, and they've been able to spend time thinking and having creative ideas and focusing. And so I do think there will be a boom of intellectual property opportunities coming up here. I think you're on target.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I said, I think you're on target.
That the USPTO has been sending out notices, so there's an awareness on their side that we're going to get a whole lot of intellectual property flowing through. And they've been putting out notices like, have you thought of an idea on here, on this thing? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? In very technical language, but from an attorney's perspective, I understand that legal language. And what I'm seeing is they know that there's going to be a boom in intellectual property right now. And, we want to make sure we have enough attorneys prepared to handle that.
Wow, this is really exciting. Well, again, we have been talking about intellectual property and ArtWorks, and you can talk with NZENGHA WASEME and find out more about all of this ArtWorks Legal Incubator. And again, look at the show notes and you'll see all the links, and you can just click right into it. And coming up on July 29th is the webinar for more information. So mark your calendar. And again, we'll put that in the show notes so that you'll have that. So before I let you go, is there anything you'd like to add?
Is there anything I'd like to add? Well, I can add a personal note. I know what it's like coming out of law school and the fears. What if the client asks me a question I can't answer? Or even, do I have a job? You get into that last semester and you don't know what you're going to do. And your friends and your family, they're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I understand that the stressors, and there's this high standard, like, well, you finish law school. There's a huge standard and pressure that's placed on our law graduates. I understand that. We're one of the industries with the highest drug abuse and alcohol abuse because of the stress. I want to let young attorneys, and I want to keep saying young, it's about age. I want to let new attorneys coming out of law school or in those early stages of practice know that ArtWorks is a support system for you. Holistically, we're going to work with you when it comes to personal development, professional development, helping you achieve that life-work balance. We know when the rest of the world cannot understand what attorneys go through, we will support you through it all. That's what I want our applicants to know.
Well, that is phenomenal. So everyone, again, check out ArtWorks, and you can talk with NZENGHA and find out everything, attend that webinar. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Tammy.
Thank you. Everyone, this is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.